Okay, in today's video, I'm doing this video so I can protect other people. I have no other intentions other than protecting other people from what I went through. This is my story, and it's what I experienced and had to go through. And I just want to start by saying that I came from the South. I rented and kind of like in an apartment over Craigslist. And I want to say, do not rent over Craigslist without first checking with other people who live there and seeing what they experienced with the town, asking around, checking the landlord's background, doing a background check, use many thorough investigation on your own before you ever trust anyone before you move into their apartment. And I would recommend, be very thorough. So I saw this ad on Craigslist. I came from up from the South, did not check anything out, did not check the landlord out, and got to this apartment, moved in. The landlord, whose first name begins with an L and her last name begins with an A, and her brother's initials begin with an L and end with a W. So she rented out this apartment to me. I came in, moved in. She did not give me a key to the bolt lock to the door, which was the number one tip off from the very beginning. I should have noticed, because that made it easier for her to use her key and just come in, which she did all the time for the regular doorknob. But it also let her brother take a knife and easily come in, and the neighbor her brother was living with, which they did all the time. I mean, they started off from the very beginning grocery shopping at my house. Groceries went missing. They just took what they wanted on a daily basis. I lost hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on the groceries I bought that they stole. So that was depleting. And then also, her brother and the guy next door partied day and night. They had traffic that came in day and night. They had so much illegal stuff going on there. I mean, I'm a senior, a woman, a senior in age. And I was sandwiched between two tenants, which she knowingly did drugs. And she even texted me that she knew the lady on the left of me was going down and buying it off of the guy to the right on me and partying with him. And she put on her text, she knew that for a fact. So from the very beginning, she knew it, and she did nothing about it. She did nothing about the all-night noise that went on all night long with the partying and the noise and the drug fumes going on, and I was sandwiched in the middle and had to breathe all this in. So between the no sleep and the breathing in the drug fumes, not only did my animals suffer, but I suffered. Had to go to the emergency room, take an ambulance, which she never offered to pay for my bill for the ambulance or the hospital visit. In fact, when I came back after months of no sleep, now you try to stay up one whole night without no sleep at my age, you do not feel well and get bleary-eyed. Now imagine 3 months of that with no stopping, day and night, no sleep, and breathing in these drug fumes from both sides. Her walls, it used to be a little hotel, and the walls had cracks half-inch thick underneath the floor, and in these drug smells you could actually literally see the smoke that you're breathing in, let alone the noise I mean, they had not only drug addicts going in and out all night long, prostitution, I mean, you name it, it went on. And then on top of all that, I hid in the bathroom one day and waited to see if she would come in with her key, which she did. I don't think she knew I was there. One other time, she knocked on the door first before she came in. I was there and I did answer the door, and she didn't even have an excuse as to why she was there. When I came back from the emergency room after putting up with no sleep and breathing all those drugs in, she said, "Oh, well, maybe you're too feeble to live by yourself." That was her compassion. I did inform her of it. I took pictures, I took video, and she had no sympathy ever, did not put a stop to it. In fact, she said, "How can you be so rude, complaining about these people?" I mean, obviously she was monetarily benefiting more off of, what she was getting for rent, what she was getting off of what was going all inside her apartments. The lady beside me to the left, her daughter-in-law broke out windows with chairs and had all night. They had, she was constantly screaming at him from the inside, day after day after day. And that lady was elderly too. It was her daughter-in-law that was doing it. And she wasn't screaming at the daughter-in-law. She was screaming at the elderly lady who lived in there. I would listen to her through the walls, scream at her day and night, threatening her. See, that's what this person whose name starts with an L does. She goes around screaming at people and bullying them and threatening them to do illegal things to them if they don't comply with her wishes. And that's what she's used to doing, is bullying people. It doesn't matter, unless you're doing drugs and prostitution and everything else she's into, theft, thievery. I mean, I saw her day after day after day steal mail out of the boxes. The lady beside me, her nurse's aide, confirmed that she saw her stealing out of the boxes too. And then the landlord, whose name starts with an L, she explained to me, which that I recorded, the reason why she steals out of the mailboxes. Her tenant in D, who was her brother's best friend, lover, I don't know what he was. I caught him stealing out of my mailbox. I was standing right there looking at him and filming him, and he just kept doing it. And then her brother, who was out there, not even during the middle of the night, but at 6 o'clock at night, as soon as it got dark, at 6 o'clock. That takes a lot of guts, and you're not even afraid of being caught, because they've done it for so long and for so many years. They're used to doing it, and so they just feel like they're above it all. And her brother was out there, whose name starts with an L and ends with a W. Out there with a hard hat on, with a spotlight on his hat, going through everybody's trash, stealing, I suppose, all personal information so that they can scam people out of their checking accounts, out of their federal Social Security accounts, everything to do with Social Security numbers and any other information they could find out of there. I mean, I got scammed. They stole checks, they stole debit cards, they stole merchandise. The only thing that she ever returned was the neighbor. Out of all the things that they stole, they left one thing that they didn't really want on their porch. So I didn't go over there and take it off the porch. I called her and made her hand it to me, so I couldn't ever be accused of going on their porch and stealing anything. But other than that, she never returned anything. I mean, they own a store in this same town where they sell used merchandise, and I'm sure everything they've stolen is in that store, or they've resold it already. And I'm sure that's where, I mean, she has bragged how their store is easy money. And no wonder it's easy money, because when you steal merchandise and resell it, yeah, it is easy money. And I had numerous, at this point, after all this chaos, in November, she called me a narc and told me to get out. And I did move out because I couldn't stand one more day of it. So at that point, I did move out. But, if you don't have anything to worry about, why are you worried that I'm a narc? If you're not doing anything illegal, why are you worrying about me being a narc? And then when she called me that her brother charged after me to beat me up, and she stopped him. It was totally dangerous, and there's so much crime and corruption going on with her and her family that this was not a safe place to live at all. Not from minute one. In fact, minute one, when I pulled out, the neighbor next door and all her family all talked to me and told me all of this from day one as I was moving in. They already gave me a heads up. Now, at this point, I did call the local police station. They never showed up. The neighbor called the local police station and they never showed up. The neighbor called the sheriff and they never showed up. And, more people that I've talked to did the same thing and nobody ever showed up. She, the landlord, whose first name starts with an L and ends with an A, shows up and says, "Oh, well, they didn't, did you call the law enforcement?" And she said, "They didn't show up, did they? Ha ha ha." She let me know from day one that she's above the law, her family's above the law. She runs the police station. She has went up there and checked with the dispatch lady, and she came back and said, "Oh, there hasn't been any reports made." Well, when I went up there and made a report and talked to the dispatch lady, no, she didn't have no reports for 3 months that people called in. She said she had 0 reports on file. And then I was informed by her that also, if you make a anonymous report, they won't even go check it out. Now, that's the first time in my lifetime that I have heard that, because my whole family is law enforcement, judges, and lawyers, and I checked with them and they said that's absolutely not true. If you make an anonymous report because you're afraid and you feel like your life is in danger, they still should show up. Because somebody could be there, right there, with a gun on you. And if you're making a report by text or call, because you can text now 911 a lot of places, and you're saying your life is in danger, you got a gun pointed at you, they're supposed to show up. They don't need to know your name. They don't need to, they're supposed to show up. So, she forced me because she constantly was bragging about how she owned the place and controlled the law enforcement. So she forced me to go to entities outside the county that are higher up to send the videotapes to send the pictures to report for 3 months daily as it went on, which she didn't know I was doing that, and to my own family. And so they knew what was going on. And in fact, a family member of mine who came out of Columbus showed up one night and verified, yes, they could smell the drugs coming through the bathroom wall. It was overbearing. They couldn't even stand using the bathroom in there, the noise. And also, during the night we heard explosions, which we can verify, that were so loud it felt like they knocked me out of my bed. I mean, that's how loud and powerful they were. And the neighbor next door said she heard the explosions and felt the shaking. And at that time, and this was, at the beginning of fall, at that time, there would be buckets that they made their drug substance in, and all the other materials that were put in town, the big bin outside their apartment. And we noticed that the trash company would come in early in the morning when it was still dark and remove those items, and then come back like at noon, 1 o'clock, to empty the whole big town trash bin. I would be in my apartment and be looking out, and they were so bold that they wouldn't get caught in this town that her brother would make transactions from a vehicle sitting in the parking lot by the bank, out in the open, out in the daylight, to his buddy ND, who, after it was distributed to him, sold to everybody. I mean, he sold to everybody in this town. He sold to everybody out of this town. I mean, I was sitting out there one day when they made a deal right in front of my face. I was sitting out there one day when a kid came up and asked if he was home, and I said, well, unfortunately. And he went and knocked on his door, and then he looked at me and he said, oh, well, this isn't worth it. I'm not going to do time for this. And he walked off. I mean, it was so blatantly done. Now, at this point, as an update, as she said, she always got heads up from her words, not mine. She always got heads up from the local police department, and she got heads up from the county sheriff's department. And yes, neither one of those parties showed up for the neighbors when they called them, or for me, but that's why they were so blatant and doing it right out in daylight. I mean, the neighbor guy, when he had to deliver, he would put it in a bag and walk next door to the neighbors and deliver, looking like he's going grocery shopping or something. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, and I sat right there and listened to each knock and watched him do the same routine in the same bag, every day. Now, at this point, when I moved out and after I moved out, she did make, knowing that I had made reports, she did make the guy in F and her brother move. So they are no longer there. Where they went, I'm sure this hasn't all stopped. She's still profiting off of it at a new location. There's things that I can't say at this point, so I won't say it. But, and the lady to the left of me, she did move out. She was very happy to get out of there. And after I moved out, the landlord, who is a criminal but not a very smart one, blew up my phone day and night. And she not only threatened me on the phone with all kinds of things, but she then backed it up with text to make sure that I understood what she was threatening me with, which isn't very smart, because then once you texted, I had proof of everything she was threatening me with that she was going to do that's illegal, and I had written proof. So she may be a criminal, but her fingers in her mouth are always busy, and that's what's convicted her. That's what's been the evidence. And I even told that to the police station here. I said, if you ever get, if anything ever happens, you got to know it's because of her, because she's got loose lips and runs her mouth constantly to everybody, and she's got loose fingers and text the proof to everybody. I mean, I'm talking 6-7 hours a day of texts, let alone, like I said, she slipped up in the past, and, she texted that she knew for a fact that there was drug dealing and selling going on in her apartments and did nothing about it. So, just an update. I'm sure there again, she owns, from what I have been told, 6 different businesses under her name. I won't say what all they are on here, but, it's all, her God is money, and she'll do it in any way. She has no feeling or regard for anybody or for their life. Let's put it that way, because I've heard things in the past from the neighbors, but, she has no regard for human life. She has no regard for animals. She has no regard for anything but money. That's all she has regard for. So let that be known. I mean, if you got children out there, if you got, teenagers out there, if you got young adults out there, you need to teach them and protect them from people that are like this, that will do anything to make a buck, even if it means your child's life, okay? Even if it means your child's life. That's no regard to her, no regard at all. Or her brother. Her brother, I really can't tell you which one's worse. But, we got to start protecting our kids. We got to start protecting them from drugs and from people who make and distribute them. And we got to start protecting our senior citizens from renting off of someone like this that's going to go in and steal your information, steal your financial information, steal your groceries, that has no regard for your health or your life at all. I mean, we, in this time, and the way things are, what matters in the end is what good you've done for people, how you've helped people out, how you've treated them, how you've made a good difference in their life. In the end, that's all that's going to matter when it's all said and done. So, let's watch out for our kids from this filth. Let's watch out for our senior citizens, and let's watch out for everybody in between. A new girl did move in to the side apartment. I had talked to her right after she moved in, and I already saw the landlord go in a week after she moved in with her key when she wasn't there. So obviously it's not going to stop until somebody stops it. All I'm doing is warning people, because like that girl said, I wish I would have had known before I moved in. She's not going to have the drug problems because she got a heads up and moved them all to another location. But still, the theft apparently continues. So anyway, y'all have a nice day. Be safe. Take care of each other. Do a kind deed.